Happy Star Wars Day and may the 4th be with you always. And to celebrate this joyous holiday, we're going to talk about Moon Knight. Yeah, the season finale has been released, so now we can watch the entire season on Disney+. So now I make a video on the last 2 episodes, with spoilers, so that is a spoiler warning. If you have not watched the entire first season of Moon Knight yet, you should steer clear of this unless you don't care, because I will be talking about everything that happens in these 2 episodes. So you have been warned. And so yeah, I've been talking about Moon Knight 2 episodes at a time. I just wanted to change up the formula, see how it worked, and ultimately, yeah, I don't like that. I'd rather just talk about each episode individually, because I have just so much to say. Like, example, I have so many thoughts on the finale alone. I'm gonna see how much I can cram into this video without making it too long. I guess we'll see what happens. But starting out in that 5th episode, Asylum, picking up from that shocking twist at the end of the 4th episode, where after getting shot, Mark Spector and Stephen Grant, they wake up in this mental insane asylum, and you're like, what the hell is going on here? My theory was that this was some sort of limbo or judgment state, and I was pretty much right. Yeah, it turns out Mark Spector, Stephen Grant, they are dead, like they have been shot dead. And so they're greeted by the Egyptian goddess Taweret, who I guess is like the farrier of souls to the other side. So you're like, oh shit, okay, so he really is dead. Like Moon Knight lost. That's cool. This show has balls. I did like that Easter egg though, where Taweret is like, oh yeah, this is one of many different realms of existence for wayward souls. Like the ancestral plane, for example. Oh, it's gorgeous. I was like, that's a Black Panther reference. Alright, so yeah, this is certainly in the MCU. It's confirmed now. And so it turns out that this insane asylum is part of some sort of metaphysical boat, and they're heading to the field of reeds, you know, like heaven. But their hearts or souls or whatever, they're unbalanced, so Mark and Steven need to take a trip down memory lane, and we get answers here. Which, yeah, did remind me a lot of the penultimate episode of WandaVision as well, since it was pretty much the same thing. It was a trip down memory lane that blew our minds, and gave us some pretty shocking answers. This 5th episode of Moon Knight did that. We learned that, yeah, Mark Spector was the original person, and I actually already did know that multiple personality disorder can come from childhood trauma. That's like a really common cause of it, and so that is the case here. We learned that Mark Spector had a younger brother named Randall, and they were exploring one day, and Randall died drowning in a cave. Yeah, they were kids. They were like 8. So yeah, that'll scar you for life. And then we see that his mother turned abusive. Oh my god, that was hard to watch. She blames Mark for Randall's death. She's yelling at him. She even goes for the belt at one point. You're like, Jesus Christ. And so that's when you see him manifesting this other personality. You see him just snap. And now he's the character Stephen Grant from that grade B Tombbuster movie. And the rest is history. We learned that his abusive mother eventually died, and he didn't go to the funeral. We also see the day that he became Moon Knight. The day he had that mission. And so he's all bloodied up. He's weak. He's gonna die. He stumbles upon that monument to Khonshu, which I guess that was lucky. Yeah, I guess that was super convenient. That or Khonshu just conjured it up out of nowhere. That's probably what happened. It was cool though. You hear Khonshu go, "Do you swear to protect the travelers of the night? Then rise and live again as my Moon Knight." I was like, sick. That was badass. And we do see over the course of this episode that Mark and Steven are, coming to grips with each other. They're learning to accept each other. They're getting along really well. And it works out just in time for them to not make it to the field of reeds and get the scales balanced in time. So these souls start coming up and attacking them. And Steven makes a sacrifice. He goes overboard and we see him freezing in the sand, which I guess metaphorically means that Stephen Grant is dead, like dead. And I'm not gonna lie to you, that cliffhanger ending of the 5th episode, that really got to me. Because it's like, oh, the scale is balanced because Steven sacrificed himself, and then you just see him alone by himself in the field of reeds. You're like, alright, he made it to paradise. Holy shit. Yeah, for the last week I was like, fuck, he lost. He's dead. I mean, sure, I imagine he will get back from there. He'll come back to life and take down Arthur Harrow, but he will be a changed man after that because he has seen the afterlife. How do you come back from that and just live on with your life? I guess we'll see. But yeah, that shit was crazy. Alright, covered episode 5. Now we good to move on to the finale, because I have so much to say here. Most of it good. Some of it left me wanting. Let's dive into the finale of Moon Knight Season 1. I think it's called Gods and Monsters. Here we go. So it picks up where Arthur Harrow shot Stephen Grant, Mark Spector, and so he gets the little Amit statue and he just straight up releases Amit. You're like, oh shit. We saw that in the 5th episode. We saw the souls were coming down. And so here we see that happening. Amit gets released and we see the Egyptian goddess Amit, and she looks awesome. She's like Killer Croc. Like Killer Croc meets the lizard, meets Egyptian folklore. And she's all like, to who do I owe my gratitude? I do like the fact that, yeah, Arthur Harrow is completely kneeling and he's gonna be her bitch. Cause, yeah, he spent the entire season worshipping her name, and so that comes through. So he agrees to be her avatar now, which, alright, that's almost like the trope that Marvel's had where the villain has the same power as the hero, but it's not really. They have the same method of getting their powers, but their powers are not exactly the same. So yeah, that's different enough. That's fair. And Layla is still there. She just saw her husband die, and so she's like, alright, I'm gonna take on this crusade myself. She does release Khonshu because Taweret was speaking to her through dead people. That was kind of funny, if not weird. Like, I guess Taweret can just do that. Eventually, she just possesses her, and she's like, alright, you can be my avatar. She said no to Khonshu, but she'll say okay to Taweret, temporarily anyway. I do like the fact that Layla is holding her ground. She's like, no, I don't want to be your bitch. Mark Spector wasn't enjoying it. What makes you think I would? So she forms like a temporary alliance with Taweret. And we see her just bust through the wall. She's all Scarlet Scarab now. That was a surprise to me. I didn't see it coming. That suit looks badass, I'm not gonna lie. It does remind me a lot of Wonder Woman's Golden Eagle armor from 1984. It's like Wonder Woman meets Hawk Girl. That's pretty much what this armor is, except she's a lot more badass of a character. Not that Wonder Woman isn't badass. Alright, the story's a lot better. That's what I meant. She is awesome though. I mean, she's flying around. How she learned how to fly is beyond me. We knew that she knows how to throw down, like hand-to-hand combat-wise and with weapons, but flight is a different skill entirely, but I can shrug that off. That's just a nitpick. Meanwhile, back at the afterlife, Mark Spector's like, alright, this is boring. Can I go back now? That's pretty much what, alright, that's not exactly what happens. It's interesting though, because Taweret said he's manifesting this field of reeds, meaning I guess he has the choice to leave. Which, alright, that opens up 100 different questions I have that I just don't have the time to ask right here, nor the patience. At least not in this video. But Mark chooses to leave, he goes back to Steven. They're right there at the gates of Osiris, and so they're pretty much like, alright, I love you too. Hey look, the gate's opening, let's go. I'll admit, the second half of this finale episode, it was cool, don't get me wrong, but it was also a little rushed. It was, I can't deny that. It was also pretty short too, which is a bummer. This season was going so well, setting up so much cool stuff, and then the finale happened and it stuck the landing. I'm not saying it didn't, but I feel like it could have been a couple episodes longer, could have stretched it out a little bit more. Like, I think the season could have been 7 or 8 episodes. I'm just saying. But anyway, Mark and Steven, they come back to life, and they go to Khonshu, and they're like, alright, we're a package deal now, we're working together in tandem here, which is really cool to see, especially when we get to the fight scene. And so they make the deal with Khonshu. Once the fight is over, he will release them from being Moon Knight. Alright, I guess. And so Moon Knight flies into action, which actually I didn't know Moon Knight could fly. We saw him gliding with that awesome cape of his earlier in the season, but I didn't know he could straight up fly. Awesome. And so we get to the final climactic, awesome, huge, epic, badass action scene. And it is super cool too, who are we kidding? Yeah, I love that we see Mark Spector switching back and forth between himself and Stephen Grant. It just goes back and forth between Moon Knight and Mr. Knight. I thought that was really cool. And so it's Moon Knight and Scarlet Scarab, Layla, they are fighting Arthur Harrow together. Teamwork, baby. I will admit though that one moment where the girl was like, you're an Egyptian superhero? And Layla's like, yeah. That seemed a bit woke to me. Like that seemed forced. Like, yeah, I see the message about feminism and diversity coming through in the action scene, which is awesome. You don't need to say something outright. Yeah, it just seemed a bit preachy to me. That's just my opinion though. The really cool thing is the fact that we see this enormous god fight between the deities. We have Amit versus Khonshu. They're like titans, and they're fighting right next to the Great Pyramid of Giza. I was like, this is awesome. I feel like I could have watched that fight go on for twice as long as it was. Cause what can I say? I just love watching two huge monsters duke it out. That's just absurdly entertaining to me right there. But back on the ground, we still have Moon Knight and Scarlet Scarab versus Harrow. And there's a really cool point where it looks like Harrow has Moon Knight pinned on the ground, and then he blacks out again, which, okay, you're like, wait a minute. All right, for the past couple episodes, Mark and Steven have not been blacking out when they make the switch because they've been communicating with each other. So the fact that he's blacking out now, that definitely gives away that, yeah, there is a third personality in there. Someone in there is keeping himself a secret. We see who that is in the mid-credits scene. I'll get to that. And so because of that blackout, we don't get to see how Harrow is defeated now all of a sudden. But alright, I'll take it, I guess. That also does kind of add to the rushed nature of this finale. And so Mark and Layla, they take Harrow to the Chamber of the Gods inside the pyramid, and they do the spell, the seance, and they trap Amit once again, except they trap her not in a statue this time around, but actually Arthur Harrow's body. So Khonshu's like, alright, you kill the body, you kill them both. And I straight up was like, alright, Moon Knight, do it, kill him. What, you've killed other people before, why should this be a problem? Hell, you were a mercenary long before you became Moon Knight, why should this be a problem? And we see Moon Knight, he gets ready, he's got the Crescent Dart, he's like, alright, I'm gonna kill him. And Layla's like, no, wait, don't. You have a choice. you're free. And I was like, what's with the hesitance? Like, I thought you were a killer, Moon Knight. I mean, I don't have a problem with the fact that he doesn't kill him. My problem is that this change of heart seems really sudden, just super abrupt. Like, just a couple days ago, he was slaughtering dudes. Now he's like, all right, Ethan Hawke, I'll let you live. Like, why? I don't get it. And when he goes, all right, Khonshu, you want him dead? Kill him yourself. I was like, all right, so Khonshu, kill him. Go ahead, do it. Why aren't you doing it? We've seen now that he can manifest physically in our world, so why doesn't Khonshu just kill him? I don't know. And so Arthur Harrow is sent to a psychiatric hospital somewhere. Mark Spector, Stephen Grant, Layla, they're all released from their bonds. So alright, I guess Mark Spector and Stephen Grant, they're just no longer gonna be Moon Knight. I wonder how that's gonna play out. And so the episode ends with Mark and Stephen back in their flat and they're like, alright, this is our life now. But of course, there has to be a mid-credits scene, and there is. And in this mid-credits scene, we finally get the reveal of Jake Lockley. Yep, the third personality in Mark Spector / Stephen Grant's body has revealed himself, finally. And he's speaking Spanish. I was like, okay. I knew he was like a driver, like a chauffeur in the comics, but that's pretty much all I knew about him. I guess he's a worse killer than Mark Spector is. He's at that psychiatric hospital, he wheels Arthur Harrow out of there, and so they're in this limo, and Khonshu's like, yeah, I'm not done with that body just yet. I may have released Mark Spector and Stephen Grant from their bond, but Mark Spector has no idea exactly just how troubled he is. Meet my friend Jake Lockley. And so I imagine Jake Lockley is gonna be Moon Knight now, and he shoots and kills Arthur Harrow, so alright, that's done. Done deal. I'm actually glad that happened. Yeah, I wouldn't want to risk Amit getting out again. So just kill the guy, it's fine. And so alright, that's where the season of Moon Knight ends. And now for my theories and questions. The fact that, alright, we're getting introduced to Jake Lockley now, pretty much all but confirms that, yeah, there will probably be another season of Moon Knight. I mean, Marvel hasn't come out and officially announced it yet. So the real question is, yeah, when will we see Moon Knight next in the MCU? Probably in a second season. So when will it come out? When will it start shooting? I know Marvel's working on 100 other things right now, so it's probably gonna be a couple years. And so if there is gonna be another season, I imagine that's gonna be Mark and Steven looking into this third personality, Jake Lockley. Oh shit, we're not done with Khonshu yet. Moon Knight's still around doing shit. Alright, that can be the base storyline for season 2. And also, will there be more tie-ins to the larger Marvel Cinematic Universe? Because this show as a whole barely had any tie-ins whatsoever. There was one mention of Madripoor, and then the mention of the Ancestral Plane. That was pretty much it. No mention of the Avengers or the multiverse or anything, which pretty much means in the grand scale and scope of the MCU right now, like the direction it's going in, this show Moon Knight is pretty much irrelevant. I'm not saying it's bad or boring, I'm just saying it doesn't really matter in terms of like the general direction that the MCU appears to be going in with the multiverse, with Loki, WandaVision, Doctor Strange. It's like how the Black Panther movie was pretty much irrelevant to the Infinity Saga, but that being said, it was still a badass movie. It's like that. That's how I see Moon Knight. And also, yeah, there were quite a few loose ends that this season, like the finale, it didn't wrap up. This is where all my questions come in. Like Arthur Harrow, how did he come by the staff with the powers anyway? I know that he used to be Khonshu's avatar, but how did he come across Amit's shit? How did he know everything about Layla's past? What did happen with that goldfish? Why did it suddenly have 2 fins the next day after it just had 1? Those are really the biggest questions that come to my mind, and I feel like they'll never be answered. Quite a few MCU Disney Plus shows have actually done this, where their finales, they seem a little bit rushed and they don't answer every single question that we have. I really hope Marvel does a better job with their show finales going forward. Again, I'm not saying I hated this finale. In fact, this finale was really solid. This show, Moon Knight, is actually, in my opinion, one of the best MCU Disney Plus shows we've had so far. Because I loved the emotional character deep dive that this show took into the character of Mark Spector and Stephen Grant. Sure, there wasn't as much action as I might have wanted to see when the show was announced, but the really intriguing story distracted me from that. I was like, I don't care. I loved the whole mind trip element of this series. That was like the coolest part. The whole shock twist at the end of episode 4, that was business right there. Damn good writing, if you ask me. I still love the atmosphere and tone of Moon Knight. I still love the cinematography. The score was awesome all the way through. And I can't wait to see where we see Khonshu's Fist of Vengeance next. So, Moon Knight, Episode 5, Asylum, and Episode 6, the finale, Gods and Monsters, I think. They are out now. The entire season is out now. Have you watched it all the way through? What do you think about it? And where does this Marvel entry fit in your hierarchy of all the titles? And also, what are your questions and theories for the future of this character? Let's get this discussion going. So whatever you think about any of it, go ahead and leave a comment. And of course, thank you for subscribing. Now, if you'll excuse me, that new trailer for Obi-Wan Kenobi isn't gonna rewatch itself a million times. Latest Gators!